Hi dear children, today we are going to have a discussion on the fifth chapter of our main text, The First Flight. The name of the chapter is 100 Dresses Part 1. This story is divided into two parts, 100 Dresses Part 1 and Part 2. Our fifth lesson is 100 Dresses Part 1. It is written by L. Basor Esther. This story is about how do we judge people around us? Is it on the basis of money, wealth, or possessions? Or is it on the basis of any other values that they possess? This story is a sensitive account about some young girls who considered or who judged their friend in a different way. They had a friend. They judged her in a different way. This the protagonist or the main character of the story is Wanda Petronsky. Wanda Petronsky is a Polish American girl. Her family has migrated from Poland to America. That we know that American population is means a part of American population is Polish people. That means a 0.25 percentage of the total population is people who are speaking Polish language, and 1.4 percentage of people who are speaking other than English is Polish people, or people who had migrated from Poland. Means America is the place of Polish immigrants. Lot of Polish immigrants we can see in America, and hence her family also had immigrated to America, and she had to go to school with her American classmates to an American school, but she was a Polish girl. So her friends treated her in a different way. They found difference in her in many ways. Which are the ways that we will learn while going through the lesson. So as we already said, the main character of the story is Wanda Petronsky. Wanda Petronsky. And see, she was a student, and almost all her classmates are American students. And see, the author says on Monday, Wanda Petronsky was absent in the class, but nobody noticed her absence. Even Peggy and Maddie did not notice her absence, the author is telling. Why she is mentioning the names of Peggy and Maddie? Because Peggy was the most popular girl in the class, and Maddie was her friend. Maddie or Madeline, that was her friend. They did not notice the absence of Wanda on Monday. Say, the author says Wanda used to sit at the last row of the class, near the last seat where the children who secure low marks in all subjects are sitting. And also, most of the laughter are heard from that last corner of the class. And most of the ruts, mud and scuffling of feet are heard from the last corner. She sat there, and the other says it was not because she was a bad child, or it was not because she shouted a lot or laughed a lot. It was not because she scored less marks in exams. Only one reason was there for her sitting there. It was her feet were covered with mud. Her feet were caked with mud. Why? Because she was coming from Bogan Heights. That was a hilly area. All through the mud, she was coming from Bogan Heights to the school. So she sat there. And nobody had ever heard her laughing loudly, or nobody had ever heard her speaking loudly. She spoke in a very low voice, and she never laughed in the classroom. Sometimes she smiled, having a little smile, but she never laughed in the classroom. So only one reason was there. She was coming a long way from a muddy place, that is Bogin Heights, and her feet or her sandals were covered with mud. That was the only reason why she was sitting at the last end of the class. Then they spoke. Nobody spoke to Vanda inside the classroom. They spoke to Vanda outside the classroom while they were coming to the class in the morning, or while they were out of the classroom during the afternoon. They spoke to Vanda. Then while she was observing the other girls playing hopscotch in the ground, the other girls would surround her and speak to her, and only to have fun with her, fun with her. See, the author is telling, the Monday Vanda Petronsky was absent, Tuesday also she was absent, but nobody noticed her absence, and Wednesday Maddie and Peggy noticed her absence. Why? Because of Vanda Petronsky, they were late in the class that day. Why they were late in that day? Because they waited for Vanda. Sometimes they used it to wait for Vanda, not for strengthening their friendship with Vanda Petronsky, but for making fun with her, or to tease her and having fun with her. They will wait for her in the ground, and they will ask some funny or mocking questions to her, and she will answer in a low voice, and they will laugh by themselves without the knowledge of Vanda Petronsky. That was a fun for them. They were enjoying teasing Vanda Petronsky. For getting that fun, they were waiting for Maddie and Peggy were waiting for Vanda on Wednesday morning, but Vanda did not come, so they became late in the classroom. So they noticed the absence of Vanda. But see, the author is telling Vanda was different from other children in the classroom, because their classroom was room number 13. She was different in name also. Her name was Vanda Petronsky. They had never heard such a different name. Their friends had names like Thomas, Smith, Allen. All those names are American names or English names. So her name seemed to them as funny. Vanda, she did not have any friends also. She came to school all alone and went back to home all alone. And she used to wear a faded blue dress every day that did not fit her properly. But her clothes were very clean, but it seemed it had never ironed properly. It had never seen an iron box. So she did not have friends, but a lot of friends talked to her, sometimes to have fun with her, surrounded her to have fun with her, and they used to tease her, speaking about her faded dress. She had only one dress. The rest of the lesson, here we are going to wind up today's lesson, and the rest of the lesson that we will learn in our next class. So read the lesson many times and take out all the details of the lesson. Thank you. Have a nice day.